I beat the polygraph machine. That's right, the lie detector. So I'm not even sure how many years ago, but back in the day, maybe 20 years ago, something like that, I was a corrections officer with the Arizona Department of Corrections. I was also a detention officer with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. And to get those jobs, I had to take a polygraph exam, all right, a lie detector exam. They just ask you about your criminal history and about any, they try to get stuff out of you. Anyway, I passed those exams, those lie detector exams, with flying colors. I mean, I, I was an angel according to these lie detectors. So here's the thing. Years later, I wanted to become a cop. So I wanted to apply to the local police agencies. There was Glendale PD, there was Phoenix Police Department, there was Peoria Police Department. I applied for Phoenix. Now, I got as far, because of my experience, I got as far as getting a polygraph exam scheduled. Okay. And once you get a polygraph exam, you're pretty much close to being in that door. I mean, they just wanted to check to see if you're good. Now I figured, all right, I've already passed this polygraph exam twice in the past. So this should be no problem. It should probably be the same questions. Big deal. Anyway, so I get in there and I didn't know anything about the polygraph exam other than it was supposedly something that tells whether or not you are lying under testing environment. So I went in there and they asked me much the same questions. And for some reason or another, I thought that I should just be even more honest. I, I, I don't know. I mean, I didn't give this information. So here, let me slow down. The polygrapher, the guy who gives you the exam or the woman who gives you the exam, they make it very clear to you. They just tell you, listen, I've been doing this for 20, 30 years. You cannot beat the lie detector. Don't even try. If there's anything that I question you about or anything that I haven't not asked you that you think would affect you in this polygraph exam, you need to let me know because nobody, that's what they tell you, nobody has beaten this exam. Nobody can lie to the lie detector and get away with it. That's the way they framed it. You're intimidated from the very beginning, before they even hook the machine up to you. Okay, and first of all, they hook up a blood pressure cuff, and then they hook up an oxygen sensor to your finger, and then they get some cables around your chest to monitor your breathing. So they intimidate you. So before you even get asked any questions, they ask you that if there's anything you want to tell them right off the bat, right before you begin the exam, tell them right now. Anything that has never been detected or that nobody knew about, tell them right now. So, because this was a position that I really wanted in the police department, first of all, I admitted to petty theft. When I was a kid, I think 8 years old or something like that, I was in children's church. This church was in a house, and we were in the bedroom having our children's church, and I noticed a football, and I wanted the football, so I stole it. I threw it out the window, and I picked it up after church. Big deal. Petty cash, right? Or petty theft. Big deal. That's one of the things that I divulged in my other polygraph exams. So here's where I went wrong, though. Then, because I was so stressed about passing this exam and I didn't want anything to come in between me and getting this position, I admitted to something that I'd never really told anybody. So there was a time where I worked at a convenience store and I worked graveyard shift, and you get the shadiest people at a convenience store during the graveyard shift. Somebody came in. The dude was obviously wired. I don't know on what, but he came in, he bought some cigarettes, and he was fidgeting around for his money, and he paid me, and then he left. When I was cleaning the store and I was wiping down the counters, I wiped down the front counter, and I noticed a little playing card, and it was folded into a little square, a tiny little square. And I just opened it up. I said, "That's odd that it was. Well, why is it folded like this?" So I opened it up, and inside was a white substance. I mean, at this point, I'm just naive about the world. I think I was 20 years old. I've never really been around drugs, but I opened this up, when I opened it up, I decided to do that thing that the cops do on television or in movies. I dabbed my finger in it, and then I dabbed my tongue with it. I didn't know what I was supposed to taste or what it was supposed to do. Anyway, as soon as I did that, my tongue, or the tip of my tongue, went numb, just numb. And I thought, oh, this is some serious stuff. I just took it out and threw it on the garbage can outside in the dumpster. The guy, of course, came back. He said, "Hey, did I leave something here? A little playing card or something? It was rolled up in a square." And I forgot what he called it. He had some nickname for it. And I said, "No, man, I didn't see anything like that." I didn't want to tell him that I threw it out or that I really found it. I didn't want any part of it. Anyway, so I admitted to doing that. Okay. And I think from that point on, the polygrapher failed me because the rest of the questions were exactly the same they were at the sheriff's office and exactly the same as they were at the Arizona Department of Corrections. Same questions, same answers. At the end of the test, he tells me that he found that I was, I forgot what the term was, but I wasn't being truthful about my answers. And it was probably related to the drug questions and answers or whatever. But looking back, I realized, you know what? This guy failed me before he even hooked me up because of what I admitted to. Whether or not he thought I was just making an excuse for having ever experienced that, I don't know. But here, whatever. I failed. He said, but you know what? You can appeal the test and schedule a second polygraph, and then you come back in and we'll retest you. So I did that. I thought, well, that's crazy. How do I pass this exam twice and then fail it? So I went back, and this time he said, okay, same thing, same intimidating speech. You can't beat the polygraph. Don't even try, and you need to be truthful. And if there's anything in your past that you need to admit to me right now, you need to tell me. Well, at this point, I was still confused. I thought, well, maybe I didn't divulge some other information. And then I divulged information that I didn't have to divulge to him, embarrassing things that I did at my places of employment. When I say embarrassing, it's embarrassing because I wouldn't have told anybody else about this, but I thought maybe that's what made me nervous when I answered the rest of the questions, and maybe I should just bring that out so that I don't have that. I mean, these things were they were they were embarrassing and bad. And I think at that point, he had already failed me from the second exam. Or maybe the second exam was probably set up to fail me anyway. But I mean, I admitted more than I had to. None of this was documented in my past. But I thought that it did something. Anyway, I looked into it, all right? I'm running out of time here. I got 2 minutes. So I looked into it. I looked out, and you can beat the polygraph. You can beat the polygraph. And maybe I'll save it for another. If I get enough likes on this particular video, I'll tell you exactly how I beat the next I beat actually 3 more polygraph exams. Beat them. And let me tell you something. I lied through my teeth at each and every one of those polygraph exams because I already knew how to beat it. I already knew what an antiquated machine this was and how the intimidation factor was at play here. But you know what? I'm running out of time. Sorry, guys. I hate to be the kind of guy that does part 2, but if you're interested, if this gets enough interest, then I'll tell you part 2 exactly how I beat 3 polygraph exams after that. All right? See you later.